How are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm doing great.
Good. I wanted to first start off by telling you why it's great to be you. Uh, you are so much of an icon in terms of your style, your voice, your songs, your contributions, your very presence. You literally would never be mistaken for someone else. And how many people can you say that about where it's like you are your own identity, your own brand, and I mean that in the best possible sense. But when I'm talking to you, I feel like I'm interviewing the Chrysler Building.
Hopefully not quite as old as the girl. But yeah, just as well. That's fantastic. I mean, yeah, when you start out doing this initially, you have a lot of hopes. You know, yeah, because one of the biggest things about music or about voices, and it's to be recognizable.
Right,
So
right.
the fact I may not be the greatest singer in lots of ways, but I'm really recognizable, and so there's so many great singers who are like technically perfect and beautiful, but you can't. They could sound like anybody else, and
Right.
so it's fantastic to have all those qualities that you mentioned. I'm really lucky because, yeah, somehow or other I developed some of those qualities, and they've helped me to last and enjoy what I'm doing. That's a big part of it.
I mean, no one's ever come up to you and said, wait, it's no, we know who you are. We know who you are from a mile away.
But there you are. So we do shows where people are a few hundred yards away, so they do need to be able to recognize me. But yeah, I mean that was it. Trying to create something that was memorable that people could see,
Hmm.
recognize,
Hmm.
and sort of touchstones about you that would set things off about people's memories. I mean, yeah, we always looked at all the people we loved or the bands we loved and just what they were doing and how they were making their music stick, and that it was. And then when we came to do it, yeah, we sort of applied a lot of things, or even did the opposite. Just did the exact opposite or something. But that was the fun of it, and we had a lot of fun doing it, and I'm still having a lot of fun, and I think that's a big aspect.
Well, tell me, how was your 2020? I mean, that's a loaded question for everybody, but what did you feel like during that whole year?
Well, it was confusing. I mean, saddening watching what was going on, and I had a number of friends, older and younger friends, both affected in many different ways
Hmm.
by the virus, and so it was frightening because you weren't quite sure what was going to go on or what was going to happen. Who was going to be here and who wasn't going to be here, and the one thing we did do was to kind of redress the balance, was try and make some music. And so we got together with
Hmm.
Steve Stevens, myself, and this producer we wanted to work with, Butch Walker, and we sort of quarantined together for a couple of months, kind of May and June of 2020, and wrote the EP, The Roadside, which is what's
Hmm.
coming out on the 17th, and that's the best thing we could do. Try to do something that sort of redress the balance for us, something positive, and I think it worked out really well. And we couldn't put it out immediately because we were hoping we were going to tour next
Right.
last year. Of course, nothing. It all got cancelled. We just didn't know when we could really put the music out,
Hmm.
and we wanted to wait till we were actually going to play. And we were able to do some shows this summer, and they're sporadic, but we've done 12 so far, and we're probably going to end up doing a few more. So it's great. We are out here with the release of the EP and everything. So, but yeah, last year was very confusing. I mean, yeah, it was a weird time for all of us. I can only imagine. Whatever you thought about the virus, it was a weird time.
Yeah, absolutely. And with this new EP and the first single that we've been playing, Bitter Taste, and perhaps the name says it all, but it's a really sad song, Billy. Is it can you tell me anything about that one?
Well, yeah, we were sort of sitting there in May, June 2020, and sort of thinking, well, could see what was happening outside the door.
Hmm.
But at the same time, when I write songs, it's usually it's difficult to just sort of, if something's happening, an event in the world, it's sometimes you need time to take it in and let it kind of marinate inside you. And then when it does come out,
Mhm.
it comes out really naturally and usually very well and everything. So I just thought, in terms of the pandemic, is this the right time to be, when we didn't even know, we all were hoping it was going to end by September, but no, it didn't, so we just didn't know what was going to happen. So I thought, what else could I write about that was kind of a problem time for me, something I had to overcome, something massive in my life, something that involved hospitals, uh, involved something horrible and something I might not recover from, or I just didn't know what my future was. And I just thought back to my motorcycle accident, because it was like that. I mean, at one point I was going to lose my leg,
Yeah.
and then they managed to save it, and it was all touch and go, and then the recovery was kind of horrible, and then but I made it through. And I just thought, well, if I write about that, maybe there'll be something about that experience that it's not directly about the pandemic, but it would have some resonance for others.
It does, and it doesn't even necessarily seem to reference the motorcycle accident. I think that there's a broad enough sense of what this sort of loss, this feeling, you could apply it to just about anything, which of course is always a great song. And I always feel too that when people, there are some people who are natural hermits and maybe used the year to just hide out because that's their normal jam. And then there's those sociables that really felt cut off. Where did you land on the scale? Were you somewhere in the middle?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of lucky because I can enjoy my own company or something. I grew
Yeah.
up in England,
Mhm.
and the weather's not always the greatest there. And you end up spending quite a lot of time with yourself one way or another. It's probably why I learned to play the guitar and everything in England. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, I'm a social being and I enjoy going out and everything. So we were kind of caught in a catch-22 of like, yeah, I want to be normal, but
Mhm.
how do you be normal during this? And, you really had to pick who you hung out with. And
Yep.
even that, you just didn't want to spread the virus. I didn't want to. I didn't want to be giving it to somebody and
Mhm.
not killing someone or something. I just had the idea of that was so awful. So basically, yeah, I hid out, and yeah, I can imagine for a lot of really social people, it must have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
They're just so used to going. My girlfriend actually is very social.
Mhm.
She's very used to going out, and then she's almost done the opposite. She's just really hidden away. She really. So, poor love, it's like, but so did I. We just took it really easy, and it's yeah, I'm 65, so I kind of had to think about my age. I'm lucky, I'm fit.
Yeah.
I work out and stuff, so I'm kind of fit. But then I was seeing there's other fit people, and they weren't doing so well. So there you go. I did actually get the coronavirus. I had it for Christmas. A wonderful present for
No.
Christmas.
Last
Corona for
year?
Christmas. And all it did, it was kind of nasty. It made my voice a bit more croaky. Thanks
Mhm.
a lot. It was already croaky enough. So now, but maybe I actually recorded the song before I got the coronavirus. So,
Dude, did you
but
really?
yeah, I got over it though. I did. It was like a really bad upper respiratory infection. I just had a ton of stuff coming out of my lungs. It was revolting.
Right.
But it wasn't as bad as some other people, so I was lucky. I think I was probably very lucky.
You didn't lose your sense of taste or smell, did you?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't. It didn't affect me like that. It was more like I had a terrible upper respiratory infection. Just a
Right.
headache and yeah, just it was horrible. I really hung on to the
Mhm.
symptoms. Just hung on for a really long time. I mean, I had this kind of phlegm I had just went on forever. And it's only just about, I think maybe going on the road cleared some of it up because I got some of it out.
Yeah. Well, I think for any musician or a club owner or anything that's really, I mean, depending on live music and performances for their livelihood, you just had to get a little more creative about the way you think about it. And maybe when you approach the idea, I know there was just that really short little window in which people felt like, well, maybe we can gather in smallish groups. But then again, of an artist at your level, it's like, I don't know, are you just going to pop in and do a living room show? I mean, it doesn't seem like that's quite your thing.
Well, we did a couple of things for charities and stuff like Project Angel Food
Hmm.
that helps AIDS, and did a few things like that where we could, Zoom,
Yeah.
Zoom ourselves, I guess, or some kind of link, a link. So we did do a few things like that. But yeah, it really meant, yeah, yeah, we couldn't do any shows because you didn't want to gather people together and kill them. Really, I mean, that's what you felt like. My God, if you draw, you just don't want to kill your fans. They don't deserve that.
Usually.
So yeah, so it meant putting everything on the back burner.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, we planned for this summer, and we'll probably play in Europe next year. And so we're kind of back to sorting things out and figuring out and doing maybe some US dates in the in the kind of winter spring of next year. So hopefully we'll be back really sort of playing full time.
One of the things that I miss the most about doing interviews in person is seeing people's footwear. What can you show me your shoes right now?
I don't know if you can see.
Okay, sneaks. Okay.
Yeah, they're a little bit like sneakers, but
Okay. Yeah. Good to know. For some reason, I'm always sitting there, and especially when the band is performing, I never know where to look, and I have a tendency to examine footwear, and it's one thing I miss by just seeing this part of a person's face. But um, so have you been? Now, have you been abroad? I mean, have you gone back to England?
well, no, my mother even died
Oh,
last
Billy,
year in
sorry.
August. I couldn't go to the funeral or anything. I had to
Ugh,
watch that. Luckily enough, they did a camera link to that.
ugh.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. There was things like that happening. She didn't die of the coronavirus. Her heart gave out eventually.
Okay.
But she was at home with my sister in England, and she was happy. I spoke to her just before she passed, and I could tell she was happy. She wanted to go to my dad. Really, that's so.
Isn't it interesting when you've had I call it sort of the opportunity to be with someone at the very last part of their life, and I've often found that the person who's doing the struggling, the person who's dying is almost trying to comfort those that are standing around them, as if to say, I'll be all right. And where you'd think inversely, it would be you saying to your mother, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. But I've often found in that situation that it's actually the person who's ready to move on that's doing all the heavy lifting. I don't know what that means, but that's just sort of been true in a few different instances in my life, anyway.
Yeah, that's right. My mum was kind of accepting it. She said to me, my dad passed in 16, and
Hmm.
he got cancer and lung cancer and died of lung cancer. And she said I was only really staying strong for dad because mum had always had bad heart problems. So
Hmm.
in fact, I was surprised she lived longer than dad. It's one of those things. But she stayed alive, I think, for dad,
Hmm.
and to make sure that his last time was comfortable. And then she said, once he passed, she said, well, I'm not really thinking about myself anymore. I'm not expecting to live on too much longer. She lived on 4 more years. And
Yeah.
but you're right. She was very calm, and so they're kind of accepting of it. And my dad was saying, I had a good innings, and
Yeah.
cricket innings, I had a good innings. I felt, he wasn't, yeah. I mean, I was going on to Berlin and things, and he was going, oh, I'd love to be going on, but there you go. But that's right. She was kind of accepting of it.
Was your mom the kind of person who saved everything you did?
She did. She did keep scrapbooks and kept all my singles. And
Oh,
I think I've got the scrapbook now. I
okay.
have the scrapbook which had my press clippings and everything. She kept all of it.
That is really darling. And there's got to be something, even though you are, the original assassin, punk rock 101, but your mom saved all of this stuff for you. And I mean, that's got to warm the heart of any punk rocker.
Yeah, she used to. A few years ago, she used to be online talking to the fans all the time.
Oh,
She
wow.
she had 500 of my fans regularly talking to. So she was great like that. She really loved the fans, and she loved music. You see, she loved jazz. Actually, she
Hmm.
loved mainly jazz, but she loved music. So I think she kind of liked it that I did music. I don't know if my dad did. I think he was a little bit more, didn't quite understand,
Sure,
But
sure.
it's okay, Dad.
Yeah. That's amazing. So you've already gotten some of the things from her home have already been sent to you?
Yeah, because we're doing a documentary.
Mm,
Will come out. Well, we have. It's open ended when we finish it because of the virus has messed
hmm
everything up. So it's a bit open ended, but we are doing a documentary, and of course, yeah, my sister sent me some of the stuff that we may need for the
Who
doc,
who
and
is
of
working
course,
on
the
the? Oh,
scrapbook is kind of beautiful to have.
oh God, yeah. Who is working on the documentary with you?
It's actually going to be directed by Jonas Ackland,
Okay, that's y-
and
that's amazing. And so yes, you'll have all of that. I just got a quick side question. Did you watch the Shane McGowan documentary, the Pogues documentary?
no, I haven't. I want to watch that. Like,
I'd
it's
be
got to be fantastic.
I'd be curious to know. Yeah, it was produced, I think, by Johnny Depp, and I think they've been
I
pals for
watched
a
him
while.
getting his new teeth. Is it?
Yes, well, yes, he has new teeth, and he did appear on stage with a lot of people and a lot of fans. I think maybe would it have been his 60th birthday? Is that possible? Maybe.
Yeah, probably. Most probably, I would
Yeah,
think so. He's probably a few. Yeah, he's probably a little bit younger than me. I would think so, because
yeah.
he was. Yeah, he was a teenager in punk rock. That's what I. Because he was hanging on the scene in punk rock. He had a band and everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
In the early days of punk rock, I remember I was standing behind him. He got his ear bitten off by a girl fan, bit his ear or his earlobe off. I was standing right behind him. So, Shane McGowan. But yeah, wow, he had a great career. My mum loved the Pogues. She's Irish, so she
Of
loved the
course.
Pogues.
Of course. Well, this will be very I mean, I'm a documentary junkie and I would love to see how somebody puts and shapes together your story and I hope that you're a producer on it as well.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, I am. I'm yes, very much involved, and so far it's been fun. I went back to because I lived in Long Island for a bit,
Yep.
so we went there to the house on Patchogue, Long Island, Conklin Avenue,
Mhm.
where I lived, and when I was about 2.5 till I was about 5.5, and then we went back to England. Dad decided he wanted to go back to England. My mother was Irish, so a lot of her sisters and brothers had moved to New York,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so we had a lot of relatives in New York there, and then they all moved down to Miami. They all live. I think a lot of them are dead now, unfortunately. But
Oh, yeah. Well, don't want to take up too much more of your time, and you've already showed me what you're wearing on your feet, which is
yeah,
more than a lot of people will actually allow me. But the EP, the Roadside EP, the release date is October
September 17th, actually.
tomorrow. It's Friday.
Yeah,
All right, September 17th. That is this Friday, and I'm really sorry for the loss of your mom. I really am. And again, even as an adult, you can feel a little bit I don't know, a little bit like an orphan, even though we're old and, our parents aren't necessarily meant to be parents for the rest of our life. But when you lose them both, it's tough. And I have a feeling that you'll get through it. They sound like lovely people.
yeah. I was lucky that she lived to 93, and
Wow.
that was pretty amazing because she had about three nearly near fatal heart attacks, and she kept going through like metal detectors, and the English metal detectors were messing her pacemaker up. So a few
Ow.
times, a dog once saved her life because she passed out, she blacked out, and the dog kept her alive. She had a dog she was taking care of, and the dog kept whining and kept her alive.
The
So
dog.
she nearly died about 3 times. So it was
Oh.
amazing. She lived longer than Dad. I was, so I was lucky. I was lucky.
Oh.
Mum, 93. I really
Oh,
was.
man. How's Gwen?
So there's a sadness, but also I was happy she lived that long.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Well, Billy Idol, thank you so much. Again, the Chrysler Building.
Yeah,
No one
Chrysler
will.
Building of Rock. Yeah,
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Thank you so
it's a
much.
beautiful building, so
It's my
I'll take
favorite.
that
And hopefully we will see you on the other side of this live in person in concert.
most definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.